Everyone knows the 80s headliners, Run DMC, Public Enemy, NWA, but the blueprint was laid by crews the algorithm forgot. Cassette Hiss, Park Jam Echoes, 112-inch, One Shot, and then silence. Tonight we're digging up 15 forgotten groups who built the sound before the spotlight arrived. You'll get one essential track from each crew, the backstory behind the record, and how these names, Bronx Bilinguals, Philly 808 Destroyers, West Coast Electro Architects, UK Originals, changed the game and then vanished. If your 80s history starts with the legends, you're missing half the map. This list will redraw it. This is Hip Hop Lore. Subscribe, hit the bell, and let's drop the needle on top 15 forgotten hip-hop groups of the 80s. Stick around to the end. I'm shouting out your sleeper picks for part 2. Before Grimes' Pirate Radio Charge or UK Road Rap's Street Reportage, London Posse answered a deceptively simple question. What happens when British MCs stop code switching and sound like home? Money Mad lands like a manifesto disguised as a street diary. The beat feels imported from sound system culture, low end with weight, snares that crack like a mic passed over a stack of bass bins, while Rodney P and Bionic ride in their own cadence. Patois woven through London slang, syllables clipped and stretched to reflect the city's gait. Part of the power is documentary. The verses don't mythologize, they itemize. Bus fares and side hustles, council flats and corner shops, the arithmetic of the week between pay and rent. That concreteness is set against a hook that turns the subject outward. Not just money, but what money does to the map of a day. Production nods to reggae and dancehall in the way space is carved. Bass as foundation, drums as call and response partner, bits of texture entering like rude buoys at the edge of the circle to co-sign a bar. Legacy is permission. After Money Mad, a generation realizes you can be fully local and fully hip-hop. You don't need to borrow vowels to be understood. You can hear the line that runs from this record to UK artists who treat authenticity as an accent, not a costume. The track remains a grown man classic precisely because it never tries to be more than what it is. Reality set to a rhythm sturdy enough to carry it. Close your eyes and you can feel the echo off brick. Fresh captures that liminal moment when the Park Jam sensibility, crew routines, callbacks, crowd prompts learn to live on vinyl. The profile era drum programming is spare and immediate. Kicks that announce, snares that pop like handclaps, a bass line that moves as if someone were riding the fader in real time.
That's fresh. Well, I admit there's a place for money and girls, but you need fresh gear to live this world.
Over it, the trio trades verses like they're jogging a relay. One voice handing off to the next before the baton cools. The magic is staging. Early records like this are theater, ad-libs that function as spotlights, little spoken asides that widen the room, refrains engineered for a chorus of friends who already know their parts.
Couldn't decide which jams are where, but what climbs am I? So with anger on my face, I walk.
Nothing here is about solo dominance. It's about presence. How 3 timbres, a DJ's cuts, and a drum machine can feel like a block party at the moment dusk gives way to streetlights. Fresh is also a time capsule of technique, on the cusp of acceleration.
I couldn't decide which jams are where, but what climbs am I? So with anger on my face, I walk.
You can hear phrasing tighten, internal rhymes begin to snap into place, and breath control harden, seeds of the speed and density that would soon define the mic. But the record never loses its grin. It's a reminder that the foundation wasn't only competition, it was communion, and the tape preserved it.
You put us together, you'll have a ball. We're gonna show you what we're all.
Hip-hop speaks many languages. Disco Dream put that fact on wax. The Mean Machine's bilingual single is often cited as one of the first to flip between English and Spanish on a rap record, and it does so without fanfare or footnote. The switch is part of the flow, the way you talk when your block demands more than one vocabulary.
Gonna show you what we're all about, and individually we gon' shout it out. So Jimmy Mac.
Musically, it's still got a foot in late disco's four-on-the-floor propulsion, rhythm guitar chanks, rubbery bass, party horn accents that imply a live section even when you know it's a studio trick.
When I like to play ball, when I'm not on the court, I'm on the mic. And when I rap to the rhythm, it's pure delight.
The bilingualism isn't a garnish, it's structure. English sets up the scene, Spanish deepens the tone, jokes and boasts traveling in the language that suits the sentence best. That freedom cracks doors the industry hasn't labeled yet, suggesting a future where the party's call and response can travel across tongues without losing tempo.
That you're ready to rock, so just get on your mic and shoot for the top.
What my name is, I'm slender and tall.
You hear the Bronx in the arrangement, DJ instincts baked into the breaks, and you hear something else. The confidence to assume that a mixed language cipher doesn't need translation, it needs speakers.
Us together, you'll have a ball. We're gonna show you what we're all about.
And individually,
we gonna
In hindsight, the record reads like a preface to the bilingual swerves that would later mainstream and globalize rap. In the moment, it just sounded right. Bodies moving, voices slipping lanes, a groove sturdy enough to carry both.
A doctor, a lawyer, or a king. Take me in your car, let's go for a swing. One day you're gonna be.
The early mid-80s loved a hook you could sing by the second chorus, and a fly girl delivered one without sacrificing street polish. The track's trick is balance, slick enough for radio, tough enough to pass a boombox test. Synth stabs answer the vocal like a hype man on cue. The bass line rides a clean, danceable pocket, and the drums keep the bounce while leaving headroom for the chant to breathe.
Dirty nails are what I hate most, but the gold fingernails are high post. I like pretty.
Lyrically, it's a classic hip-hop archetype. Style report as courtship ritual, but the writing is specific enough to feel seen, not generic enough to blur. What matters historically is how easily the group scaled from sidewalk to spotlight. Their signing to a major set a precedent, but it's the song's feel that endured. No cynicism in the polish, no apology in the groove. Where some mid-80s crossover bids lacquered the beat until it lost texture, a fly girl preserves the grain in the wood. You can still hear the hallway reverb, the DJ logic in how the hook loops back, the sense that a live crowd could step into the chorus without missing.
To fly girl, I wanna be with you. You're not the prettiest thing, girl, but that's okay.
The legacy sits between R&B radio and hip-hop's internal standards. You can carry a glossy melody and still sound like home. That lesson would power 1,000 crossovers. This one just happens to keep the smile that earned it.
New York, just to turn it out. Greg T, the man with harmony, rocking with the other 3 M's.
If you want to understand how crew routines became records, start here. Disco 4 were Enjoy Records stalwarts at a moment when labels were learning to translate block party energy into A-sides.
Rocking with the other 3 MCs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Without me, do it.
Do It rides a simple, insistent groove. Hand clap swing, tumbling bass line, a snare that lands like a cue light, while the MCs work the mic the way you would a park. Names called, crowd coached, the room kept in motion.
Greg T, the man with harmony, rocking with the other 3 MCs. 1, 2.
The architecture is almost architectural in its simplicity. Verse, refrain, chant, repeat. But within that frame, you hear the early craft hardening, rhyme schemes tidying up, punchlines sliding closer to the bar line, a sense of tempo discipline that lets the DJ carve in cuts without derailing the cipher. The record's genius is how little it tries to be clever. It trusts the engine, beat plus chant, plus confident voices. Movement.
New York, just to turn it out. Greg T, the man with harmony, rocking with the other 3 MCs.
What lingers is the feel of inclusivity. The hook isn't just catchy, it's an invitation. You can imagine 100 versions of this performance, all of them right, because the point isn't to recreate a take, it's to recreate a mood.
Turn it out. Greg T, the man with harmony, rocking with the other 3 MCs.
In a decade that would soon prize polish and personality cults, Do It remains a postcard from the commons. Hip-hop as a shared room with a door propped open.
knows you're just acting. Some of your buddies that you call a posse be plotting and scheming to get them some Scotty.
The first thing you feel is the air around the drums. Dry, unadorned, close-mic'd, like a stare that doesn't blink. Queens had a knack for making minimalism sound menacing, and Small-Time Hustler is that instinct on wax. A skeletal drum machine, a bass motif that barely moves, and verses delivered with the cool poise of someone who's already counted the money twice.
fare. Other than that, not a dime to spare. Do you have when you stand on the Ave? It makes me wanna laugh.
This isn't a cinematic caper. It's routine. Day-to-day angles, coded talk, the math of getting by. What makes the record enduring is its discipline. No ornamental hooks, no sugar on top, just negative space that forces every consonant to land.
Only cash you got is car fare. Other than that, not a dime to spare. Do you have when you stand on the
The Dismasters treat the beat like a grid you don't step off, which has two effects. The verses feel inevitable, and the smallest production choices, an extra hi-hat tick, a doubled word, hit like events.
Wish you had driven your duster, but it's too late. You've been had by a hustler.
Heard alongside the era's louder crossover bids, it's almost austere. Heard on a late-night mix show or a street system, it's perfect. A Queen snapshot pressed into 4 minutes, already pointing toward the starkness that the borough's 1990s would sharpen into a signature.
I'm fresh.
It's joyous, yes, but not disposable. The hook is written for crowd choreography. The verses play with timing the way DJs play with faders. And the arrangement understands what a youth league dance or roller rink needs. A pulse you can follow from the bleachers.
Super J!
Better hear me, Jockbox.
Kick it! Kick it! Kick it! Kick it!
Decades later, when Jockbox resurfaced as a TV theme, it wasn't an ironic wink. It was recognition that this particular mix of athletic energy and percussive precision had never stopped working. The Skinny Boys didn't just celebrate the beatbox, they scaled it into an instrument.
Some of this while I have no crew. You wanna do me harm, get the whole combination. Making all bell.
Long before coastal binaries hardened into myth, crews like the 7A3 were already braiding aesthetics. Coolin in Cali floats on West Coast sunlight, wide synth pads, unhurried swing, a low end that glides rather than stomps. But the cuts are East Coast sharp, the bars clipped, the arrangement tidy.
What you see. My word is born and this is gonna be a frenzy of fun, madness, insanity.
You can hear the future in the crates. A young DJ Muggs finding textures and pockets that he'll later stretch into a whole universe. Learning how to make space feel heavy and hooks feel inevitable without being obvious.
Wanna do me harm, get the whole combination. Making all bells ring, a fighter and a lover, yo.
The single's charm is how casual it sounds while doing important translation work. It's a tourist brochure and a field report. Palm trees and industry grind. Breezy choruses and DJ punctuation that keeps the record tethered to the curb.
Frenzy of fun, madness, insanity. Forget the vanity, I like the path for the road is dark.
If Los Angeles hip-hop in '88 was a branching river, electro-funk on one side, gangsta narratives gathering force on the other, the 7A3 occupy the confluence, pointing downstream at where it's all headed and smiling at how good the water feels right now. This video is sponsored by the R&BLORE store on Amazon, your one-stop shop for music lovers across reggae, rock, pop, and hip-hop. We built it for real listeners who don't want to dig through 1,000 listings to find the right gear. Inside the R&BLORE store, you'll find 5 aisles. VIP, top, battle-tested essentials. Headphones, turntables, speakers, gig-safe earplugs, smart speakers. Reggae vibe, roots and lovers. Rock made easy, automatic decks, warm bookshelf speakers, vinyl care. Rock lore, classic rock must-haves, open back cans, simple amps, living room concert vibes. Pop lore, feel-good everyday setups, clean, clear speakers, easy streaming, nostalgia-friendly picks. Hip-hop must-haves, punchy bass without the muddle, closed-back headphones and living room systems that handle low-end, plus a rotating crate of old album vinyl if you're rebuilding a 60s-90s collection. Every product page tells you who it's for, 3 pros, 1 con, and why we picked it. So you can choose with confidence. Flying soon? Check. VIP for noise canceling that tames plane roar. Mostly listening at home? Try open-back headphones that let live albums breathe. Want instant gratification vinyl? Our fully automatic turntable is 1 button from silence to music, and the record cleaning kit knocks down crackle so the bass tightens up. Headed to shows? Grab high-fidelity earplugs. Hands-free at home? Our smart speaker picks let you say, play 70s reggae or classic pop, and you're there. Deal alert. If you use the link in the description, you'll land on our curated picks with current best available Amazon pricing and active discounts where applicable. Prices change, so buy now to lock in today's deal. Tap the link in the description. Pick your aisle, grab a favorite, and tell me which category you want me to build next. The Lore Store. Listen better, with gear that gets out of the way and lets the music live.
Smashing those who stand in my path, counting them down like math, planning, mapping.
Philadelphia puts muscle into the meter. My part of town is 808 architecture. Kick drums stacked like row houses, snares cracking like screen doors, a bass line that turns the block into a loop. Over that foundation, Tuff crew trade verses with the assurance of locals who know every corner. The claims are territorial, but the feel is communal, the kind of chant a neighborhood can agree on without a meeting.
And then mapping, rapping them down for my part of town. Girl.
The record is also a showcase for DJ 2 Tuff's touch. Cuts placed like exclamation points. Drops engineered to let the crowd yell the line that everybody knows by heart.
Another verse of rap, another tune, a bar, a star. Know the pack is killing, chilling, billin', willin'.
Where some late 80s singles tried to polish their way onto adult radio, this one keeps its concrete. You can practically hear the car systems that made it bigger than any chart. The lesson it gave a generation of regional scenes is simple and hard to execute. If you build the rhythm section strong enough, place becomes hook. Tuff crew didn't just describe their part of town, they made you stand in it. Before the black fedoras and khaki suits, before the Compton mythos, there were sequencers, sparkle suits, and a Los Angeles nightlife that worshipped the roller rink. Surgery sits at that crossroads, pre-NWA Dr. Dre and DJ Yella, building glossy electro rap on a chassis of drum machine precision and synth line gleam. The groove is a conveyor belt, clean, mechanized, a little decadent, and the vocal rides it with a wink, more club impresario than street reporter. It's impossible not to hear the method underneath the glitter. The drum programming is mathematically neat. The synth voicings leave room for the snare to register. The arrangement pulls dancers through the room in repeatable loops.
LA is the place for you to be, to witness Dr. Dre.
What sounds like frivolity to the untrained ear is actually systems design. Tempo, timbre, and turnaround all optimized for bodies in motion. That Dre and Yella would later pivot to a colder, harder register doesn't erase this phase. It explains it. The studio discipline, the appetite for sonic sleekness, the understanding that a mix is a machine you step into, all of it starts here, under neon. Before Compton thundered through the national feed, Los Angeles danced. The dream team is in the house, is the city's electro-funk foundation poured to spec. Sequenced drums with surgical precision, vocoder flashes, synth bass that rolls like a skating rink floor, and a tempo calibrated for choreography. Chris, Snake Puppy, Wilson, and Rudy Party don't just hype a party, they stage manage one, building a call and response architecture that any rink, rec center, or gym could inhabit instantly. What sounded like novelty to coastal skeptics was actually systems thinking. The drum programming leaves air for crowd chants. The bass line runs in repeatable loops that DJs can extend at will. Stabs and drops arrive like cue lights for dancers and MCs alike. You can hear a whole regional ecosystem coming into focus. Uncle Jam's Army, Egyptian Lover, world-class Wreckin crew, rooms where the mix is a machine you step into. Long before national radio took West Coast rap seriously, this is how the city organized itself around a beat.
We go by the name of the mighty Crash, and we got a melody that's sure enough smash. This here is going.
Crash Crew translate the late 70s, early 80s crew routine into a proper studio record without losing its street logic. You can feel the Sugar Hill House Band's live band swing, bass line strolling, guitars chanking, drums snapping with a human hand, while the MCs pass the mic like a relay, every entrance timed to keep the pocket warm. The premise is meta, rap about rap on radio, but the execution is theater. Roll calls, ad-libs as stage directions, refrains built for strangers to know on first contact. Listen to how the verses sit with the band rather than on top. Cadences coil around kick and snare. Punchlines land on downbeats that feel inevitable, and the hook lifts like a chorus sung by a room, not a lead.
Hey, down, see, we're rocking you down with a musical wave. While the rhythm makes you all become beats.
In an era when many singles shouted their way into rotation, this one swings in, showing how live feel and MC discipline could coexist. The record preserves what the park invented, a communal grammar where timing, tone, and trust in the band make a party travel from corner to cartridge to car.
Just check out how we rock for you. And if you don't believe us, you just check out how we rock for you.
If you want to hear the moment technique outran the available vocabulary, start here. Credited with Spoonie G, the new rap language does exactly what the title claims by accelerating cadence until syllables behave like drum subdivisions. Cool Mo D, LA Sunshine, and Special K don't merely rap fast, they re-meter English, stacking internal rhymes, elisions, and percussive alliteration so tightly that a verse becomes a rhythmic etude. The effect isn't stunt work, it's grammar building. Suddenly, breath control is a narrative device, not just a flex. Bar lines stretch, emphasis migrates, the listener learns new ways to count. This is the hinge where playground boasts become technical art, and where a generation realizes that velocity, density, and clarity can reinforce each other rather than cancel out.
On the mic, we turn it down, your latest right without a doubt. And if you don't believe us, you just check out how we rock for you. And if you don't believe us, you just check.
You can trace a line from this 12-inch to double-time cadences across regions and decades, but its deeper legacy is permission to treat flow as a technology you can invent, not just inherit.
Give it to us now.
A document that still feels like a room. That's The Joint, captures a Bronx crew at full stretch with Shay Rock in the formation, historic in itself, and a live band engine that breathes like an open window. The groove is plush and conversational, congas tick in the gaps. The bass hums, guitar and keys nod to jazz and funk while the MCs braid harmonies, unisons and solo breaks with an ease that sounds rehearsed because it was. The park codified for tape.
The melody. Keep help me rock, we're singing harmony. Because Jeff is the rhythm and K is the bass.
What sets it apart isn't only the lineup or the musicianship, it's the record's civic intelligence. Each section is designed for inclusion. A phrase easy to catch on first listen, a vamp that allows dancing and breath, a breakdown that gives the DJ space to talk to the room.
In the house. And when we all get together, we can turn it out. Now we're in the house, as you can plainly see.
In 1981, when they carried this energy onto national television, it wasn't just a debut for the culture. It was proof that hip-hop's social architecture could scale. You're not just hearing a song, you're hearing a blueprint for how people gather. A New York winter in 4 minutes. Electro Pulse from the Enjoy Records lab. Kraftwerk DNA rewired for Harlem sidewalks, and a crew whose miccraft made the city feel both futuristic and familiar. Produced in the orbit of Pumpkin's drum machine rigor, Rockin' It fuses cold electronics to warm, precise routines, stacked callouts, tight handoffs, a hook that feels more like an instruction than a chorus. The record even became part of the visual memory of early hip-hop, echoing through the graffiti MC nexus that documentaries would fix in amber. Then the pivot that changed the industry's paperwork. The Fearless Four signed to Electra, widely cited as the first time a rap group joined a major label roster. That move didn't instantly rewrite radio. A few more years of tug-of-war remained, but it altered the business map.
Why don't you come along with us if you want to scream and shout? And especially come if you had no doubt that we're right.
It told A&Rs, programmers, and retailers that a crew born of block parties and 12-inch economies could inhabit corporate infrastructure without evaporating.
If you had no doubt that we're rockin' it.
Rockin' It stands at the hinge. Club circuitry humming beneath street team cadence. The underground asserting itself as something majors had to meet on its terms. The journey doesn't end here, hip-hop warrior. Watch this next.